Hello, welcome to the Afrocentric Woman. I figured I'd come on here and we can chat. It was like everybody went live and then nobody was live at the same time, all of a sudden. So I got to pop into quite a few little lives today, and that was great. I'll give it some time to see if anybody may possibly be up. Um, I went on a date yesterday for lunch. But I've been doing like I guess more daytime lunches because I'm dinners and dinners. I've been doing daytime lunch dates. I haven't really been going out in the evening that much because I haven't had help with childcare per se. So that's how I've been getting around it. I'll share this story time. Yeah, it's a bit of a story time about why I stopped publicly man stroking random black males. Let's see. Hey, boo, are you gonna come on the show one day? Because I didn't hear you respond earlier. I don't mean to put you on the spot like that, so don't feel obligated to answer me here. I'll share my email with you so we could talk about it offline and you can decide if it's something that you want to do. Okay, so when I stopped publicly man stroking the collective of black males, I didn't know what the word man I hadn't heard of the term man stroking per se. Um, and I wasn't listening to level up, hypergamy, divestment information online or anything. This is just conclusions that I came to myself. So, um, I'll give you some examples. I just don't have an email. Oh, you don't have an email account or you don't have my email? Because we can probably set it up for either this week or next weekend. We can go back and forth and see what's a good time for you. So yeah, let me give you the overview and then I'll break down the three little ones. So basically the overview is that I noticed that black males were sort of like pretending to have it all together in the public, but they weren't actually demonstrating inside their home. And another thing that I noticed was that they really didn't have an emphasis of having a success, like a functioning home, like high functioning home where the children are well and the wife is good or the girlfriend. It was just kind of like they were, to me, almost like additional children inside the house. Like they weren't really leading anything inside the house. You know what I'm saying? But they would project out to the public that they were. Let me share my email with you. Uh, that's me. Yeah, so there was this one couple I knew, and it was winter time, and I had a friend come from out of town, and she knew somebody else who knew this couple, and I knew the couple. So that's kind of how we all came together. And we were all huddled in this living room area because there wasn't any heat in that house. At that time, there were, I think, three small children, one of whom was an infant, and then the woman. And this guy he didn't feel no shame about it. Like he felt no shame about the fact that he has these three small children and a wife in this house with no heat. So there's only one room that gets warm, and it's like a room with the fireplace and air. So that's the only, so everywhere else in the house is cold. And it was like, he's just doing all this stuff, supposedly in the community, grandstanding, suppose he's on this project, that project, have these, under earning, underachieving, and not worried about the heat at all. And it's like, I think that in our mammying ways and our pick-me-sha ways, I don't know, I guess it's a little bit of mammying, it's a little bit of pick-me-sha, that we make excuses for males when they don't perform in the home. Like, femininely, I would get my children and I would go live with my mom. Like, you're my husband and you can't give me a warm house to live in? I'm not standing here. I am not standing here. I'm not saying I'm divorcing you, but I'm just letting you know that I'm not staying in this house with it being cold. And my mama already said you can't come to her house. Even if my mama didn't say that, I would tell him that. Even if my mama didn't tell me that, I would tell him, well, my mom said that me and the kids are welcome, but she said that she's disappointed in you and you need to get it together. That's what I would do. There's just no way. But this woman, she just sat up there and made excuses for him, and kind of like made a dollar out of 15 cents when it should have never been done. Because if all the energy that he's spending pretending and all this grandstanding and these projects and these like these cuckoo plans and stuff, that all of that time is that he could have been resolving to get heat in that house. I'm just trying to think, when you have three small children, what's more important than having a safe, warm house for them? What? Like, I can't think of anything that's more important than that. Okay, so let's fast forward years later. This woman gets pregnant again. And I end up going over there, and guess what? The heat is still not fixed, and the house is more dilapidated than the first time I saw it. The house is more dilapidated than the first time I saw it, and there's still no heat. So, newborn baby, it's only one, everybody's huddled in one room. It's a newborn baby, the other little baby, and then the two like small kids, four children and a wife. And there's no heat. Okay, let's fast forward like maybe a year later after I saw that. I saw her at the farmer's market. This woman is younger than me. She's younger than me by about, I say about like 3, 4 years. I kid you not, she looked like she was in her late 40s. She looked so defeated and she looked really, really bad. And she was like, "Oh, I'm glad I saw you because we getting ready to move." So they're getting ready to move to a smaller town. Um, I just don't think that he has the ability to maintain the home. I was like, well, she said, well, they had already sold the house. I mean, part of the house was like built in a flood zone or something. It's crazy because I've seen women do this too, where you have this like Christian background or whatever, where you think the man is supposed to be the head of the household, but a lot of these black males are not getting the skills that they need to really succeed in life. Administrative skills, negotiating skills, asset management skills. They don't have those skills. So when I'm looking at the house is like in a flood zone, like the foundation is bad. I was like, did you get the house inspected? And she was like, oh, such and such took care of it. So the husband is the one that picked the house. The house had a lot of problems. The house had a lot of problems, and it's crazy. And that's why it's like I keep saying, it's not that black women are masculine. And this is why I can't really fool with African American males like that, because they force you to be masculine. So if you get in a situation, your husband is a bumbling fool, he can't manage a real estate purchase operation. He can't manage that because he don't have the knowledge base to do it. So then as a woman, you're stuck in this position where you have to have a takeover spirit to save your family the heartache and the problems of getting the asset that's not going to be lucrative for the family long term. And so then he is, quote, emasculated, or you let him do it and fuck up y'all money. You see the situation that black women end up in with these men who are just so unprepared for life, like so unprepared for life. So yeah, I saw her. She looked so sick. And I knew it was that Dusty. That Dusty is draining every last drop of life out of that woman. And then to have those small children and not really have proper support, it's hard. It is very hard, you know. And a lot of times women don't want to go to their family and seek any type of help because they don't want to admit that they're in a dusty situation. So they try to hide it, and that's part of the problem too. There we don't talk, we don't share about what's really going on with these dusties. We allow them to be comfortable in their mediocre ways, and we don't say anything about it because it would look bad. We're too we it are like a lot of times the mammies and the pygmishas want to protect their own ego. They want to protect their own self, and they like the image of, oh, look at me, I'm married, that's enough. Like, now I'm validated, now I mean something in the Black community because I have this ring. Meanwhile, you're living in squalor. Okay, so let me tell you about another one. So there's this other situation, very, very similar. Not only was this guy, you know, a felon, and he was a felon, and he gonna try to do polygamy. So he got two women. How a felon with a minimum wage job has two pygmishas, I couldn't even tell you, but that's the situation that they had going on. So this woman was, gonna be she has some complications, a medical complication. So I ended up going over there while she was in the hospital to try to get the house ready for her. When I tell you this house was so nasty, I mean, like, it took me 2 days just to clean one room. Like, laundry hadn't been done because the woman was having medical issues. So she's not going to really be able to do it. And then the other woman is not doing anything, and then he's not doing anything. So the room is not clean. She's getting ready to get discharged from the hospital. The room is not clean. Nothing is where it needs to be. And then, like, part of the roof is caving in. Part of the roof inside this house is caving in. And it's like, how is this possible? And keep in mind, she bought this house on her own. He got out of jail, out of prison, and came and moved in there. And you know what I've noticed about Dusties just in general, just me coming back to my state and looking. I've noticed that the more grown Dusties in one house, the less the house is taken care of. And the crazy thing about that is you would think that a man is going to improve the well-being of your home. Like, it's going to, like, you're going to be getting upgrades, you're going to get new windows, you're going to get new landscaping, you're going to get your, siding. You think, like, oh, once a man gets in the picture, it's going to, like, everything's going to, get better. No, these Dusties bring everything down. Like, everything starts getting neglected. Everything starts to, like, get run down because they don't take care of the assets. They don't see themselves inside the home as responsible for the home. They're like a child inside the home, waiting for their mother to take care of it. So I'm looking at him like, what the hell? Why is this house like this? This roof is like caving in, like the paneling. There was I think it was like some type of ventilation system. You know how they have that in there where you could, like, pull it down if you need to service it or whatever. All of that was caving in. So the tub was unusable because all the siding, all the ceiling stuff had all caved in. And a grown man lived in his house. Now, in my worst pick-me-sha days, in my worst mammying days, that is something that I could never stomach that. Like, a grown man living in my house and the house in disrepair, the two don't go together. My car should not be out of order, and my house, there should be no repairs that need to be done in this house. If you gonna think you gonna sleep in this house is not gonna be dilapidated. But that's what was going on. Now get this, I'm technically there as more of a work type of situation. This guy's gonna sit up here and be like, oh, you want to drink? Do you smoke? He's talking about, like, weed. Do you smoke? You want to have a drink with us? And I'm like, you want to sit up here and drink and smoke? You have a whole sick, like, post-discharge wife in here. The ceiling is caving in. The yard is a mess. The foundation needs to be watered. You know what I'm saying? there's so many things that need to be done in the house. Even the lint trap. I remember this. I remember like it was yesterday, even though this was years ago. The lint trap in the dryer is like a fire hazard. Like nobody out of the three grown people that live in this house and these old ass children, because I'm sorry, once a child is like 10, 12, you can have some responsibility. None of you capable people could empty this lint trap. None of you. Okay. Make it make sense. I cannot. So yeah, he was like, "Yeah, you want to have a drink?" I was like, maybe I'm kind of like more in a work capacity, so maybe I'll catch you on another day, you know, just to be like not rude or whatever. But yeah, I was like, and on Facebook, this guy had all these followers. He had like 5,000 followers. He's constantly posting pictures of his kids. He pretends to be this great dad and this loving husband. And it's like nobody on social media knows what's behind the scenes. Nobody knows what's going on in this house. How can you be a man and these things are happening in the house? How? It doesn't make any sense. And then it was another woman who I knew. She ended up having some medical complications as well, to where she couldn't, um, she couldn't see some things in a home. And I just seen when she got with this, I would call him, he's what you would call a good black man. Because what the definition of good black man is pretty low. You know what I'm saying? The definition of good black man just mean like he really don't go upside your head. He comes home most days. He keeps a job more or less. That's like the definition of good black man is very low. So he would be considered a good black man, but same thing, like you don't have an asset to give your wife. So you move into her house, which she got from her ex-husband. So how as you as a grown-ass man going to stay in a home that this woman got from another man and you don't feel no types of ways about that? That doesn't hurt your manhood. But when it comes to black males, a lot of time nothing hurt their manhood. They'll take handouts from women, live off of women, live up in their house, nest in another man's society. They don't care. They don't have that I want my own attitude. I'll get my own attitude. They don't have that. A lot of them don't. So he moves in her home, which she got through a divorce from her ex. And then once he moved in there, the ex started giving her a hard time with the children, you know? Because he's like, okay, you got the house, I'm paying alimony and child support, and you gonna move this dude in the house? Oh no. So he started, you know, he started doing his thing on his end as far as the children were concerned. And I guess I can kind of see maybe why. I guess I can kind of see maybe why, because I would be thinking to myself too, if I had children and I'm like looking at my ex, like, okay, you didn't move this man in the house, in my house that I got for you and the children, really. I mean, it's your house, but I would think that if you're going to get remarried, I would think that that man will be able to buy you a house, not move into your house. And yeah, as the years went by of me knowing them, that house started going down the hill until it had a roach infestation. And I had never seen that the first couple times I went over there. I didn't see roaches, but just not cleaning up, not minding the kids, not being behind them as to what they need to be doing and not helping that woman. It's like they don't contribute barely anything to the home. They come home, they expect you to eat. It's just like extracting from the home, but not adding to it, not taking ownership of it, not taking pride in it. Like, what happened to the days where you take pride in when people pull up in your house and you're like, yeah, this is my house. It doesn't even have to be a mansion. Whatever you have, and maybe this is just how I was raised, but whatever you have, you take care of it. It don't matter if you have a 2 bedroom, a 1 bedroom, a studio apartment. It doesn't matter. Whatever you have, take care of it and have pride in where you lay your head down and where you wake. Like, why don't, that's what I saw. And this person also on social media, all these followers, supposedly he's a mentor to boys. And I'm like, what are you teaching them? What are you teaching them when your own home is in chaos right now? So what are you supposedly teaching these black boys? And this is, I think, where we get into the vicious cycle of the pathology, you know, getting passed down from one generation to the next. Because this is definitely the blind leading the blind. What are you teaching them about manhood? What are you mentoring them about exactly? And you're like barking on social media about family and this and that when the house is in disarray. The children, situations going on with the children, custody, and you're not even on top of it as a man. You're not even on top of what should be going on. You see your wife's having medical issues, and and so it's really the buck stops with you, bro. You're the one who allowed the custody stuff to get messed up because you're not on your post. You're too bad. You're so busy posting on social media that you're not on your post inside the home. It's just like all these situations started coming up. I mean, I know that, people are talking a little bit more about domestic violence in this last few days because, Kitty is saying that domestic violence doesn't exist. I called that a long time ago. Y'all could check my video that I recorded like 6 months ago about him. And the dog whistles for domestic violence. And now he just taking it to the next level. What do you say? You got to domestically, what do you say? I don't know if y'all saw it. We say y'all got to domestically discipline or something the women. I don't know. But yeah, he's getting more bold with it. But it's always been a dog whistle call for domestic violence. They even have like slapping sound effects, hitting sound effects on the show. Like, you don't like what I say? Slap. So yeah, there's been situations that I've been privy to in my town of domestic violence. And guess what? These people are posting on social media about how they got a good black man and they love their husband and this and that. I have watched in my family pick Misha's married a dude, and the dude won't even care for his own infant child, even a boy. And it's like we want to know why these boys are so messed up. Their dads, even when the dads are inside the home, they're not parenting. I watched with my two eyes. Actually, I didn't see him leave the house. He left behind my back. But we were in the house, and she hadn't come back. My cousin hadn't come back to the house. And so her dusty husband was supposedly having the smallest baby. And then my grandfather came over there, was waiting on my cousin to help him with something. And this fool put the baby in the crib and left the house. He didn't tell nobody, hey, I'm about to go. Nothing. He put that baby in the crib. The baby was awake and just left. Just left. So even a lot of times when they're in the home, they're still not really demonstrating. And they post on social media about how happy they are. They post on social media how everything is so beautiful. And so I just I just don't take things for face value anymore. I need to know who you are before I will praise anything that you do. I don't praise pandering because they pander. They say shit that they don't mean a lot of times. And a lot of times when they pretend like on the surface, the so-called good black man, talk to him long enough. Or go see where he live and see how his family's doing. And then you be like, oh, oops, my bad. That's actually not accurate assessment of what you got going on. after coming across these experiences over and over and over again, I was like, I'm not doing the, oh, black men are so great, and black men are good fathers too, or black men are good fathers. Um, or when they post something and I'm just like, ooh, even on social media, there's been times where, people will post a picture, and they're like, oh, black love. And it's like, it'll come out that the guy is either having domestic violence or whatever the case may be. So I don't even comment on those pictures. If I don't know you, I'm not congratulating you on shit. Because if I don't know what's going on, I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm just gonna keep it to myself because it's not even. It's just too prevalent. It's too prevalent that they're inside the home not demonstrating fully as men. It's just way too prevalent. It's a pandemic. It's an epidemic of underachievement, underperforming, and I realized that I was contributing to the problem. You think that this mediocre performance is good enough because black women like me keep telling you that you're doing a good job when really you're fucking failing, bro. This house is a mess. No, you're not winning. You're not winning in home life. Another thing I noticed in the black power, African centered, blah, blah, blah community was that people were way more focused on outwardly appearances and so-called community work to the detriment of their own family. And I think that happens a lot of times with church people too, like preachers and deacons and stuff like that. Like they're so focused on what's going on at the church that their home life, their family will be in a total disaster. Just a total breakdown. And it just seems like it wasn't matching up. If you care, the foundation of community is families. Like it's the families that make up the community. So how can you say that you're about community work? You got all these projects, you want to do a garden, you want to open up a school, you want to do martial arts, you want to do this and you want to do that, but your house is falling apart. Your children don't have heat in the home and it's winter time. So how are you going to be talking about a martial arts class when you haven't even fixed what's going on inside of your own home? But one thing that I noticed about the pathology of black males is that, and it has a lot to do with narcissism. Your most intimate relationships always get the worst of you. Your most intimate relationships always get the worst of you. You take out all of your pain and everything else, you take that out on the intimate relationships close to you, and then you give outside people the show. And that's what happens with the collective narcissism that we have among the collective of black males. That's what you see. If you can understand narcissism, you can understand how to deal with them. And you can understand what you have to do as far as going no contact, as far as knowing how to manipulate right back. You want to manipulate me? Baby, let's get into the ring. We're going to be manipulating together, baby. Cause I'm hip to the narcissism game, baby. You can call me the narcissist whisperer. You can call me the narcissist. You can call me the narcissist whisperer because I see through it, all the way through it. I done seen it in so many different flavors. Narcissism doesn't have one look. It looks different on different people. It manifests in different ways. There's some commonalities, but once you sample all the flavors of narcissism, you get real hip to the game. You get real keen on it. But that's what they do. They they make the family suffer for the outside appearance of demonstrating their life as a man. So the wife suffers, she'll be like looking horrible, going down, the children don't have what they need. They don't have enough time, they don't have enough attention from the guy. He's not he'll play with a little bit here and there, but not fully responsible for what they have going on. There's no vision for the household. And I think that that's something that we see across the board. I mean, anybody that's coming onto a team, in order for you to quote what they love, submit to the situation, you need to have a vision. You need to have a place that you're going. Where are you going? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to establish? And oftentimes they'll look at you, the black woman, and be like, well, what do you think we need to do? Why are you asking me? Why don't you know what you need to do? I am not your mother. Why are you asking me what you need to do? Why don't you know? Why these other men have a vision for their community? The Arabs have a vision for their community, and they're in here doing it. And you can break it down by country. The Lebanese, shoot, the Persians then came over here and took over real estate, high-end real estate. The Arabs then came in here and took over the gas stations. The Koreans that came over here and got into hair care. The men had a vision for the community, and they took over industries because they know when we get to America, we cannot provide for our women and children if we don't have an industry that we control. And they started snatching it and finagling it and finding every loophole to get a foothold into these industries, despite white men not wanting them to really have any power. But they figured out a way. Now Vietnamese people are getting into dentistry. All those generation of Vietnamese that was doing nails, they sent their children to dentist school. Have y'all noticed that? Have y'all seen how many wins are dentists now? Now they're taking over dentistry. So it's not just nails and stuff. It's also dentistry and orthodontics. The Vietnamese. These people are coming over here and getting industry, construction, the Mexicans, heavy equipment, Mexicans. And they're not even working for people that long. Like I see so many wealthy Mexicans. Yeah, they'll work for people for a little bit, but before you know it, they open up their own companies and they start doing business with each other, and they build their house brick by brick. They'll buy some land, they'll buy a little shack, they'll knock it down, and they'll build their home brick by brick. You can respect the man that provides a home for you. What the hell? Like, you guys want respect and submission. Where's my house? Where's my house? It's a trade-off, baby. You don't just get it for free. And I think that's the entitlement, that you think that you get respect for free. Respect everywhere is earned, especially when you're talking about a man. And it's like you just beat your head. It's like, I give up. I am a pretty encouraging person, and a lot of black women are. I'm pretty encouraging. Another reason why I stopped publicly man stroking, it's like men want to listen to you when you're telling them something that they want to hear. Like when you're telling them what they want to hear, something that's positive, and they respect you. Oh, queen, all right, sister, blah blah blah. But then when you tell them, hey bro, you know, you need to get some heat up in this house. Like, these babies can't be in here. Now they don't want to listen to you. Now you don't know what you're talking about. Now you're just hating and interfering, or whatever the case may be. So it's like, listen, if you can't like me and respect me when I have general grievances with you, then just don't listen to me, period. I don't want to talk to you at all. You got to take the good with the bad. Because if I told you positive feedback and I'm so smart and I'm so intelligent, and that's happened to me before. I'm so smart, I'm so intelligent because I'm telling you something that you want to hear. But then when I'm telling you something else that you don't, now I don't know what I'm talking about. Now I don't know what I'm talking about. The other ethnic groups don't play, they organize. Yep, you're actually right. Nah, that's men that never had a real male influencing growing up. Okay. Lawn care services dominated by Hispanics, cleaning services dominated by the Polish, Eastern Bloc countries. Yep. You know, I used to always hire Eastern Europeans and Russians to move my stuff when I used to move from apartment to apartment. Man, they were so freaking efficient. I don't want no damn submissive. I want a woman that don't need me. Simple. I want a woman that don't need me. If you want a woman that doesn't need you, that's very feminine. I mean, I'm just telling you, most men don't think like that. That's a very particular African American way of thinking. That's a black way of thinking. Black males think like that. I don't want a woman to need me. Most men want to feel needed by their woman, and they set up a situation whereby the woman and the children can rely on him, and he feels good in that. But I notice with a lot of black men, they don't desire that. They're very particular and very peculiar, very strange. Yes, that is so true. Good depiction of Afrocentric community. Oh my goodness. I was deep into it. Marriage don't mean nothing if your man is not doing what he needs to be doing. At that point, it's just what's the point of a husband? Black women definitely need to open up their horizon, maybe, as far as dating. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we do. Many of us have because we're tired. I mean, when you have former pro black women, which I was, when you have former pro black women giving up on the collective of black males, you know there's a huge major shift. And I thought I would be like some type of rare, crazy unicorn. Nope, I'm so not. There's a whole lot of pro black women who have given up on that bullshit. Straight up. They've given up. They're not here for it. Once you see the domestic violence behind the scenes, once you see these males in their natural habitat, when you see the women and the children, I have seen so many black women and children suffering behind the guy of an incompetent black male. Just incompetent, bumbling, don't have no type of life skills. None. And not trying to get none either. Not even trying. I was pro black Afrocentric woman who has given up. Enough is enough. Yeah, darling Ebony, so we're in good company. Like, we are not unique. There are a lot of pro black women who are not with for the fuck shit no more. We have done everything. We've organized, we have marched, we have protested, we have done petitions, we have spoke all the life into black men. We've given them free therapy. We've tried to encourage them. We've helped them get to school. We helped them fill out applications. We then took them down to get a job. We took them off of child support to try to help them get their finances together. We wrote them letters of recommendations. We did some of their college work to try to help them get a leg up. We have done everything that we possibly can do. And then we constantly say, "Oh, we love you, we love you, we love you, we love you. You're so attractive. You're so hot. Oh my God, look at your chocolate skin. Ooh, and your broad nose and your full lips. You look so African and hot." And we do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And how do you repay us? Every opportunity that you get that a black woman is either struggling, she's in a difficult situation, she's in a dangerous situation, or whatever the case may be, they always take an opportunity to pile on. Nobody sees us as somebody, these males do not see us as somebody to protect. Or like, I'm gonna roll with her and then I'm gonna figure out what it's gonna be after, because it's a black woman. So I'm just gonna ride out with her and then I will sort everything out and decide. No, it's always like, what does she do? Well, not all. And then they want to all lives matter you. When it's a black woman, they want to all lives matter you. Even with the whole situation with this ESPN thing, this is the typical black male pathology. They do it every time. You got two black men coming out to Cape for their preference. Two very African featured black males, one who's uber dark skinned, coming out to protect the white woman. I wish I had that audio clip because there was something really important that the second guy said, the one who I think who also worked for ESPN. He said, like, he when he was talking about the white lady, he said, "I feel good around her." I don't know if y'all heard that clip. I feel good around her. She makes me feel comfortable, when he was talking about the white lady. And then when he talked about the black woman, he said, she's hardworking and I appreciate her work ethic. Did y'all catch that? Did y'all catch those T's? Did y'all catch those T's? That's how the black male see us, as workers and mules. And then the Becky he sees as somebody who makes him feel good. Somebody who makes him feel good. So it's about a feeling with her. But it's about Maria's work ethic and that she's a hard worker. And that's what he respects about her. So they masculinize us every chance they get. They masculinize us. Was on a live last weekend very randomly. And we were talking about Sha'Carri, about her situation that she had with the THC. And it's like, you really didn't see the collective of black males rallying around her to give her the benefit of the doubt and compassion as she lost her mother. Just piling on, just piling on. And then that conversation was over. So we have moved on to another topic. Now we're talking about Cardi B. And I'm talking about how hard it is to read Cardi B's her social media posts, because she doesn't let people write them, and her writing is very like it's just ratchet. It's hard to read Cardi B's writing, and that's what I was saying. And so this black man with his cape out of nowhere swoops into the live with his cape on to be like, no, 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 no. Well, Sha'Carri don't speak good English. What? So you're gonna throw Sha'Carri under the bus to prop up Cardi B? That's what we're doing today, black men? Okay. Like, we're tired of it. So what I'm saying is that we as black women, we experience this disloyalty on a individual, every day. I know somebody who's not loyal. I know somebody that capes for other women over their own women. That happens to me. That is my experience. And then we also get to see it on a also get to see it on a national stage. Darling Ebony says, and they will use us up, break us down, and then have the nerve to criticize us for daring to say we're tired, laugh at our weight when we didn't have time to go to the gym. Yeah, absolutely. That's why we as black women definitely have to be self-preserving. We have to be self-preserving, because when they're taking that, it's like a bottomless pit of extraction. And I've seen men watch their wives literally on the brink of death. I've seen this. I've seen women postpartum about to die and their husband doesn't flinch. Like, she could be literally on the brink of death and he is just playing the like playing the PlayStation. It doesn't register to him, emergency, help her. He will just let her sit there and die. It's really, really sad. A brother of a certain age says, I was raised by my mother, so my lens was mixed with what I learned from watching her struggle with what I learned in the streets, unfortunately. Yeah, I think that that's a big thing, and I think that, it's very important, especially for dark skinned Black women, to let their sons see them resting. It's very important. If we're going to change the direction of where we are right now as a community, I think that it's especially important for Black women to allow their sons to see them rest, to allow their sons to see them put their self-care first. You don't want to be the sacrificial lamb of the house. You don't want to train your son to see you withering away all the time and to think that that's acceptable. Because if you do that, he's going to treat his wife like that. Well, my mama did it. My mom worked 3 jobs and didn't complain about it. What's your problem? It's very important that we let our sons see us resting, going to the spa, going to the doctor, you know, for your annual exams and stuff like that, going to the dentist, getting a facial, you know, all of those things are important if we're going to change the culture that we have in our community. Because right now, the culture is let the Black woman die. That's the culture right now. It put everybody on the Black woman's back. Everybody. Even the damn country. Let her carry Georgia. She can do it. We have to start in our house and retrain people like, no, I have to be at my very best, and if I'm going to be anything to you, I am useless to my family if I am not well, which means that investing into myself is investing into my family. I have to be healthy. I like I have to go to the gym or I have to work out because if I'm not healthy, I'm not good to anybody. I have to be well. That's the type of attitude that we have to have as women, as Black women, to change the trajectory of where we're going, right, like of where the community is right now. I was really, really through with them. Okay, I think you might be talking to somebody else in the chat. Okay. Uh, uh, okay, yeah. So let me see your transcript. You were in there when that guy swooped in with his cape. Hi, Dr. Love Jones. Welcome to the late night live. I'm talking about why I don't publicly man stroke Black men anymore. I take every Black man on an individual level. I have to. I have to vet him individually and just see how he demonstrates over time. Because I'm like, okay, well, I'll have to see like the wife and the kids too, and how are they doing before I can be like, oh, that's a good Black man right there. I can't say that. No, I need to verify first. So basically, I know it sucks, but this is the thing. If you don't like it, you need to take it up with your brothers because they're the ones who fuck shit up. So if you're upset with the state of things, go take it to them. I'm handling the cards that have been dealt to me. So as a collective, y'all are just wilding out. So I just have to assume that you ain't shit until you prove to me that you are a good dude. That's basically just what it is. I just have to have that discernment. I have to be able to vet each situation individually. And that should mean that your wife should be doing good and the kids should be doing good. And it's like if you're just roaming around the community endlessly single, running through different women, then I'm going to look at you a certain way. I am going to look at you a certain way. Like you want to talk about family, like I don't know how I guess we'll have to attribute it to the Black male worshiping part of society, that a guy with no positive relationship history, none, multiple men, multiple males with no positive relationship history, no wife, no thriving family, can sit up here and tell people what they need to do with their children and tell people what they need to do in their household. And their kids don't even talk to them. They don't even have access to their children because they didn't mess it up. No wife in sight. No wife in sight. But you want to tell us what we need to do with relationship. You need a submissive wife. And the crazy thing about this submissive conversation is it's not really like linked up with marriage or providing. It's just random. So it's like you meet some random woman and like y'all go out on a couple dates and she got to submit to you. Like what? And what I've learned over time is that submit usually is code for consent to have sex with me whenever I want in however way I want. That's really what it means. Doesn't mean anything else. Because if you don't have a vision for a house, which they don't, then there's nothing to submit to. There's no vision, there's no direction. There's nothing happening here. There's nothing here. So submit translates to consent to have sex with me when I want and how I want and as much as I want. That's all it means. It doesn't mean anything other than that. Simps. uh when men speak on other men, we are shot down. They destroy our credibility, calling us beta males and simps. Soon as we get that title, we lose our voice among the rest of the men. Maybe, but not among the women. We love simps over here, baby. We sure do. Simps is, it's just one of those, it's kind of like a homosexual thing. Like men who want to impress other men, I think that's a bit home on the homosexual, you know what I'm saying? Like LGBTQ, you start to translate over into that community. When your main goal in life as a man is to only impress and endear other men to you, that's something that's going on there. Most men want to impress a woman. Heterosexual men want to impress a woman. You know what I mean? They want the woman to admire them. They want the woman to be endeared to them. They want the woman to be close to them and in their life. So if you're living your life for what other men think about you, it's like, well, is he going to take you on a date? Like, what's going on here? What is going on over there? What in the circle jerk is happening over there? What is it? I don't know. We might have to do a whole nother live on that because I don't ever say alpha male and beta male. I don't believe in that. Darling Ebony says, and having sex however they want can get you really dicey because many of them are into some foolishness. Yeah, they are. Especially if they're narcissistic. They're like trisexuals. They'll try anything. Men that are married know that losing our voice among men is not a problem. However, I'm speaking on we cannot change our brother's behavior. We will not listen to what you're saying unless they, hold on. Men will not listen to what you're saying, what me, unless they respect. Well, I guess you really don't have to. Listen, narcissism is irreversible, and that's something that we do know. And that's why that we need to just give up on them if they're too narcissistic. That's just the bottom line. We are looking at a new generation of the next generation of men. We have collectively given up on what we have currently today. We're not fucking with them no more. Like, y'all want to be over there and your circle jerk, have at it. Get your lube, get your whatever you need, and y'all go over there and y'all have fun over there. But we're not going nowhere over there. And a lot of us are starting to call the police now. We're not about to go back and forth with you. We're not about to argue with you. You come over here with that foolishness, we dialing the police. We about to cry. Okay. Y'all want a feminine woman? You got it, baby. You want a feminine woman? You got it. We gonna cry and we gonna call the police. That's what we gonna do. Period. We're not about to argue. None of that. You're not about to pull us out of our femininity. So y'all over there doing whatever, those of the who over there that's doing it, that's fine. We have set up peaceful situations for ourselves. And if you think that you're going to come over here and mess with us, we're going to cry and call the police. Or we're going to use our rights in whatever state that you live in. We're going to use our right to protect ourselves. So we're not mothering grown men no more. We're not going to protect you. We've already pushed you from up underneath our skirt. You cannot hide up underneath our skirt no more. You got to get out and go into the world and do you. We're not doing it. We're not muling. We're not about to stroke you. We're not going to praise you until you do something that is worth being praised. We're not about to acknowledge you for just simply having a penis. That is not enough. It's not enough. I'm going to be the voice of men here. I'm not going to say we as a collective, say as a collective, we are great, but more men right now are doing the work on themselves. More men are healing. More men are getting together. Well, Dr. Love, where are they? If that's happening, I think that's amazing. I love that. And I hope to see more of it if it's happening. I don't see that on an individual level in my community, and I touch the lives of many families. And I've been doing this for over almost 10 years, and I can see all the dysfunction. I see the dysfunction. Even when it looks good, it don't be good though. Even when it looks like people be having it together, they really don't though. They really don't a lot of times. It'll look good on the surface, but then when you start poking around, you see that it is looking crazy. The term alpha male and beta male came from the incel communities. Yeah, it did. It doesn't serve a purpose. When you date a man, like when you start dating men with money, and you know, when you start dating men with money, and you might be like dating an executive or something like that, or somebody high up in the company, they have their own team, right? They have a team, and then sometimes they report to somebody too. And even the CEO reports to the board. You know what I'm saying? So it's like nobody's really an alpha. Everybody is working together for the vision of the company. You see what I'm saying? When you have a vision, what companies have a vision, they have a mission, they have goals, they have sales quotas, they have things that they're working on. So when you have a vision, people step up and step back as needed to fulfill the mission of the company. And it's the same thing as a family or as a community. When the vision is the alpha, that is the head, that's what's in charge of everything, the mission of what you're doing. So people contribute to the mission of whatever you have going, whether it's a community group, whether it's your own nuclear family, whether it's your own family. And you find where people's strengths are and you move forward as a family. This whole alpha beta thing doesn't make sense. It doesn't even equate. It's silly. This is basically what alpha and beta translate to in 2021. Alpha means I like you. Beta means I don't like you. It's really just that simple. It's really just that simple. Alpha means I like you. This is from a man to another man. If a man calls another man alpha, that means I like you. And if a man calls another man beta, that means I don't like you. That's it. It's really that simple. It don't mean nothing else, because men who provide a home, men who have money, men who are killing it in their career or their business, and who have great portfolios and investments and life insurance and everything else that they need to succeed as a man. If another man doesn't like him and he's an underdeveloped, he's going to call that guy a beta. Like, how am I a millionaire and I'm a beta? Make it make sense, Tyrone. Tyrone, stop. Have a seat, sir. No, it just means I don't like you. And then alpha means I'm aggressive and loud. I don't know how that became masculine. So if I provide a home for my wife, I'm I'm a simp and I'm a beta. But if I yell and beat my baby mama, I'm a alpha. You see how crazy this shit is? We can do a whole breakdown of the illogic of it all. Because in one breath, they'll say, I want a feminine woman. I want somebody who is carefree and feminine. And then they're like, cam up and address my master. You're like, what? Cam up and confront my daddy. You want me to cam up and confront your daddy? I'm not about to do that, sir. I do not fight men. I'm not about to argue with no man. Are you kidding me? I don't go over to y'all page acting no damn fool. I be in my own house, in my own living room, chit-chatting with my peoples over here, where we be talking about all kinds of stuff. One lady was on her coding earlier. One lady was on her coding. We had another live not long ago about STEM careers. Another live about women going into the military and how to finagle that. Women getting into different sports. You know, we've talked about the different organizations that we can put our children in, as far as, networking and private school and how to go to school without paying for stuff. That's the type of stuff that we be talking about over here. We don't just sit up and talk about alpha, beta, beta, alpha, alpha, beta, and all of that kind of stuff. And how we are making moves over here on this side. We are making moves over here. We have left the dust behind because we have to move forward. We have to progress forward. And when you're, and we feel light. We have let go of the weight that was weighing us down, the unrequited love, the non-reciprocal love. We've released that. So now we're light. We're moving fast towards making the next generation better and about living a good life right now. Because we're indoctrinated that we're supposed to suffer. That's one of the reasons why Black women end up suffering so much, because the church tells us that we should suffer and that we're going to get our reward in heaven. And we just need to endure. Well, many of us are saying, no, we want a little slice of heaven right now. We want to start living a good life now. So Black women, more Black women than ever, are starting to go on vacation and say, fuck it, and getting out of here and moving around, going to different countries, getting our passports and stuff. We moving around. Like, no. I'm not about to wait until I transition to experience paradise. I'm about to go to the beach next week with my homegirls. That's what I'm about to do. That's what we doing. If you follow the trajectory of social media, incels, and terrorism, you will see the manosphere is on that same trajectory. Yeah, absolutely they are. Absolutely they are. They are on that exact same trajectory. And it's sad because, if you listen to my video that I did about, rare Black male providers, I kind of break down how, you know, a lot of these guys are miserable and they don't know why. They can't put their finger on why they're miserable. And a lot of it's they're miserable because there is a manhood in them that is atrophying and it's not fulfilling its purpose. You think you're comfortable being a child forever, but there's still a part of you that wants to grow up and demonstrate. And so that conflict that they have is an internal one. It is an internal conflict within them. And I think that Mammies like to be in complete control. And that's why we haven't want to take the death grip off of black men to allow them to have their own experiences, because the mammy spirit is a spirit that likes to be in control. She likes to be in control. So when you release the mammy archetype, you realize that you don't control these men. You do not control these males. They have to go through their own process. If you've been taken for granted what you used to have, let me take it away from you, and then you can figure out what you want to do. You have a lot of different options about where you can go and how you can do things, but ultimately it's up to you. In the meantime, I'm over here I'm living my best life, and I'm not going to stop. I'm going to be the voice of men. Oh, I think I might already read that. Uh, you're not the only one. Yeah. With all due respect, they are not doing it on the large enough scale. Yeah, I think that that's the thing, and that you bring up a really great point, darling Ebony. They're not doing it on a large scale, and I think if the males are still listening, if the men are still listening, I think that we as Black women really need to have you hear, listen to us say this. When we are expressing valid grievances as far as the collective of Black male is concerned, and then you want to parade out these like few unicorns in front of us, it feels incredibly invalidating to what we're trying to tell you. So we're redirecting the energy of the critical mass of degeneracy, underachievement, abuse, and violence and wayward, just complete chaos that is the collective Black male pathology right now. And then there's like a handful of decent guys. You're like, no, let's focus on them. No, that's like a diversionary tactic, because what we're really trying to do is make sure that these grievances are heard. I don't know, y'all need to go to the laboratory, or y'all need to go to a sweat lodge. I don't know where y'all need to go figure out the solution to the problem for y'all sons. Y'all, they y'all sons now, okay? We tired of claiming them as they're y'all sons and brothers now. Y'all can go and huddle together and figure out what y'all gonna do to get them in order. But in the meantime, I'm like, if somebody, if another male calls another male simp, I'm automatically interested in that guy. I want to know why they calling you a simp. There must be something good about you. I'm automatically interested. Part of the problem is who are our first choice friends. It's other males. Yeah, but you better start doing like us and start getting you some friends in other communities. Get you some friends in other communities. That's what we have to do. If it's not going to be a critical mass of Black men, because birds of a feather flock together. You don't want to ingratiate yourself in a toxic ass community and try to be the voice of reason. You'll get drowned out so fast. Demonstrating is the way. You don't even have to make no grand announcements. Just start demonstrating in your life. That's gonna change the course of things, because it's really gonna have to be one individual family at a time. That's kind of like where we are right now, because the greater community is has a lot of dysfunction, and then of course the Black male collective has a lot of dysfunction. So we have to really do this at a family at a time, and people making individual choices to be well and to heal. Our first heartbreak usually comes from a female. We bond there, and some of us never leave that dynamic. Yeah, I hear you. Our first heartbreak usually comes from a female. We bond there, and some of us never leave that dynamic. The interesting thing about that is like, I feel like a lot of males don't want women to punish them for things that men have done to them. But a lot of times men punish themselves behind things that didn't work out in relationships. And everybody goes through heartbreak, including women. Everybody goes through heartbreak, but it is a common theme for males to hold on to that. And I don't remember which live I was on, but there was one live where I was talking about abandonment and how so many males do not process through various levels of abandonment. And so you project that, or those, you could be sort of like a bit sensitive, or it could be very delicate how you maneuver relationships, because instead of it just being like, oh, I went on a date with this woman, it didn't work out, it's not a big deal, let me move on. Or, oh, I like this woman, I want to go out with her, but she doesn't want to go out with me. Oh, well, it's not a big deal, on to the next woman until I find a woman that will go out to me. It's like that rejection is triggering old abandonment from a long time ago. So if there's old abandonment that hasn't been properly processed through, that small interaction of, hey, will you go out with me? No, you're not my type. Oh, it becomes a big blow up when it's other issues coming through, and it's not that's that simple, this particular woman doesn't want to go out with me, or this isn't going to work. You know what I'm saying? Or like putting yourself out there to actually create a relationship that could possibly lead to familyhood with a woman. It's just like, well, in order to not feel abandonment, I just won't even try, or I won't try fully. I'll only try a little bit. That way, I won't get hurt. That way, if it doesn't work out, it won't be so painful for me, because I can just be like, oh, well, I didn't really try anyway, I didn't give it my all anyway, so it doesn't matter that she doesn't like me like I like her, whatever the case may be. That's just my thoughts on it. It can go really deep. Black men only make up 48% of the community, and that includes gay men, men in jail. So not enough men to go around. Baby girl, we date out over here, baby. We date out over here. All men are an option. Black men are an option. White men are an option. Asian men are an option. Native American men are an option. Scandinavian men are an option. Alaskan men are an option, baby. Polynesian men are an option. Australian and New Zealand men are an option. Indian men, Nepali men, and everybody else is an option over here, baby. We date out over here. So it's plenty of men to go around, baby. Open up your eyes, girl, and you're gonna realize that the world is your oyster, Black woman. Go out there and experience life, and you're gonna see how it feels. I mean, I know for me, like I started dating, like I've dated Latino men like from a long time ago, and I was like, I had never felt so taken care of in my life when I started doing that. I mean, like, and not even dating, just like friends. Just like I had some homeboys, just homeboys. They would just take such good care of me from Colombia. They would take such good care of me. Pick me up, take me out, take care of all my stuff, drop me out, make sure I get home. Take care of me. I don't subscribe to alpha, beta, spheres, groups, gangs, etc. I'm just me. I judge individuals accordingly. I hear you, bro. Black men's only mission seems to be for us to submit to them. They don't seem to have any other goals other than to subjugate Black women. That's the problem, darling Ebony. That is the problem. You know what I was thinking about as an individual Black woman? I was thinking about what prompted this thought was when the Israelis got to Florida um to deal with the condo collapse, everything started working more efficiently. Everything started to work better once the Israelis got there. And it's crazy because Israel is such a small country, and it was like, I think it was mighty like half Orthodox Jewish population or something that was in those condos. But those people, even though they're American citizens, they still have the backup of Israel. Those Israeli men came over here and started making stuff happen. And then you see the way they did this press conference. And I know that this was from a marketing perspective, I know that this was on purpose. There's this company, Caterpillar, which I want to say is based in Israel. They have this big Caterpillar excavator, or big, it's a heavy piece of construction equipment right behind the governor and the mayor and all of this and this and that while they're doing the press conference. I know it's on purpose because the Israelis, from a marketing, like they have all like the heavy equipment, mining equipment, a lot of the road construction equipment, a lot of that stuff is Israeli. So they have like they have industries that they have taken over. One of them is finance. The other one is Hollywood media. A lot of the producers, actors, writers, a lot of them are Jewish people. A lot of them. So finance that, and then mining equipment. And I'm like, why don't, what about black men? What could they dominate? And why don't they spend all their time talking about that? Figuring out an industry to dominate. It could be, it could be mining. Maybe you could go and make alliances with people in Africa and try to get more resources equitably distributed. Why couldn't black men do that? What about renewable energy? They could maybe take over that. I don't know. I'm just throwing out ideas, but they want us to submit. Doesn't mean anything. Submit only means consent to have sex with me when I want, how I want, and as much as I want. That's all it means. It doesn't mean anything else. Maybe like make me a sandwich and don't say anything. But they could also just buy a sex doll. A sex doll will check off all those boxes. They could buy a sex doll and use Uber Eats. And then they've got everything that they need, right? You've got the sex doll will always consent to have sex with you, and Uber Eats can make you a sandwich. So boom, that's your life, right? And you can just live happily ever after. And you don't have to harass us or call him gay. Alpha means that you're abusive. Yeah, it does. Just loud and crazy. It doesn't mean anything. No man speaks for me, as men are not a monolith. Neither are black men a monolith. I see more men divulging in the delusion and attacking women publicly through words. Yeah, and through actions too. A black woman dies every 6 hours in the United States, and you can go follow Black Femicide on Instagram and you can learn about these stories. So it's in words and it's indeed in action as well. Alpha beta male isn't wrong. It's incomplete. There's actually more than 6 personality types: alpha, beta, delta, gamma, six. Oh Lord. You know what, Dr. Love? I keep it real simple over here. Man and male. That's how we do it over here. A man does the things that a man does, and a male is underdeveloped. And I do it simple for women and females. I don't do all the extra. Woman and female. Females are underdeveloped. They don't know their worth. They're a mess. A woman knows her worth. She knows her essence. She lives her purpose. She expresses herself. That make it real simple. Are you like, a man is a man to me? A man is a real man. If he's going to be a father and he's a man, he's going to do that. If he's a man and a husband, he's going to do that to the fullest. It's really that simple. Mammy spirit likes to be in control because they know if left to their own devices, stuff will be messed up. But we need to let them sink or swim because we have tried everything else. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, we have to. We really have to just let them do them. We cannot control them. Some of us aren't doing it on a large scale for what I said earlier. Our words are not getting through to men that subscribe to people like the manosphere. They have no respect for us. Yeah, I mean, I really think that men who want to be men need to get the respect of women in the community. Like those males, they can't give you a job. They don't have no resources. They don't have any resources. There's nothing that they can really do for you. I think that the best thing to do is to demonstrate. Demonstrate with a healthy family and start thriving. Unless y'all can come up with something else. Oh, y'all going in on the comments. I'm trying to keep up. According to Manosphere, Kevin, Tommy, and others like them, everything is centered around value. Value of a man is only what he can provide. Honestly, if you really like, I don't use the words alpha, beta, or high value because a man is a man. The truth of the matter is like men do provide, but it's just a matter of what is he going to provide. Men are going to provide to the most of his ability. So if you get with a man that's making $80,000, he can still provide a decent life for his family. It may just not be the same life as somebody that makes $200,000. But there's not a big, if a man is doing everything that a man should do, there's really not a big difference between a man that makes 80,000 and a man that makes 200,000 if they're providing for their family. I think that that's the part that's really hard for Black men to swallow, that yes, it is expected of you to provide. I know that most Black men, if they take that pill, they will just want to throw it up. They just don't want to accept that. Most men in the world accept that as their, like, I just got to do it. That's what I got to do. I got to provide. And that's what I'm going to do. Black men don't like that. They don't like that requirement. And I'm sorry, but that is just the requirement of life. You got to provide. If you want to demonstrate in your manhood, you got to provide. Provide the best life that you can for your family. Go take everything to the maximum. Everybody's going to have a different everybody's going to have a different trajectory, but take whatever it is that you do to the fullest. And I think that that's the big chasm, because a lot of times Black men don't believe in themselves. And we be cheering, we be having our pom poms. You can do it, baby, go, you can do it. But we believe it for you, but you don't believe it for yourself. We believe it for you, but y'all don't be believing it for yourself. And because you don't want to believe it for yourself, you just don't want to accept, I got to provide. You just don't want to accept it. It is like repulsive to Black men. Black men as a collective don't want to accept the fact that they have to provide for their wife and their kids. Whatever woman is in your life, if you taking up her time, if you try to pump on her and breathe on her and be all up in her space, then that means you providing for her. That means you're providing for her at the most level that you can. And yes, you have to compete against other men for her attention. That's another thing y'all don't want to do. Y'all don't want to compete. You don't want to compete for resources. You don't want to compete for women. That's not a good combination to win in life as a man. You don't want to compete for resources. You don't want to compete against other men. How are you going to win? You're going to have to just accept that. I got to compete against other men for whatever I want. If it's a woman I want, if it's a resource I want, if it's a job I want, whatever. I got to be out there and I got to be competitive. I'm going to work on my competitive edge as a man, period. And you have to have that confidence because we have tried for years to instill confidence in y'all. But at this point, it's becoming coddling and we're being counterproductive. Whatever we say is still not working. So we just say, okay, well, fine. If I can't convince you that you're great and you don't believe it, then I gotta just back up. I gotta back the fuck up because this is becoming unproductive. You don't believe you're great. I'm sitting up here telling you that you can do it, but you don't believe me. Morals and ethics are not included in the high value man template. Yeah, we don't subscribe to high value over here. We don't do that over here. Yes, we do like men with money. Like that's part of life. But like I said, when you take when you take your manhood to the maximum and you maximize everything that you have, all of your intellect, all of your talent, all of your strength, all of your ingenuity, all of your leadership skills, when you take your manhood to the maximum, you should get out there. You're going to be competing and you have the ability to win and life and what it is that you want to do. Get the woman that you want, get the house that you want, get the life that you want. But nobody can make you believe that. Yeah, they do support Jews almost everywhere. And Florida has a lot of older Jewish people living there. Let me see your transcript. Oh, charlatan. That's why you can't get them to understand non-tangible contributions to the family and community. Yeah, I'm not sure which non-tangibles you're talking about, but those are important too. Demonstrating what a man does is moving in silence, as men of action have no time to talk. However, social media is a game of talking the talk. The more you talk, the less you walk. Yeah, and that's a thing. And that's why the manosphere is so confused because they really only talk to each other. So they don't talk to men who have money and they don't talk to men who are dominating in their industries the way like I do and like other women like me we do because we deal with those men. So those men are not in the man they're not arguing on the manosphere. They're just not on there. So we don't get to hear those voices of the men who are out there that's actually dominating in society. A lot of times we don't get to hear them. Like Brian called Sin and talked for a whole, I don't know, 20 minutes. He had to get off the phone. He had something to do. So these men don't have the time to sit on and do a 5 hour live about, you know, women submitting and women are modern women, blah, 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 rate this one. They don't do that. Whatever type of woman they want, they just go out and get her. They just go and, oh, I like her. Let me attract her to me. I'll do something for her, get her, on my team. That's how they feel. They're not thinking about, oh, let another man give me a strategy to get the woman because when you're operating in your manhood and you have resources, you don't need a dating coach to give you strategies on how to get a woman. You don't really too much need that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easier for them. But it's the people who sit up on those things, the pickup artists and all that. They're using all these tricks in the book because they don't really have anything to offer. So they need to rely on bamboozling, manipulation tactics, or just pure delusion. Because, you know, I was listening to a video the other day where Kitten was like, I just walk up to a woman and tell her, hey, you're coming home with me tonight. And that's it. And I get a lot of women like that. That's what Kitten said. And I'm like, this old ass man is telling these young boys to go up to a woman and tell just you never knew her. You don't say hi, you don't introduce yourself. You just tell her, hey, you're going home with me tonight. Like, I don't know how many altercations then happen, how many people then got kicked out of facilities, how many people then got the police called on them behind listening to Kitten. That will definitely get you locked up. I personally don't know any black man that doesn't want to provide. I'll provide resources for any woman that I either am involved with or have kids with. Yeah, there's a lot of men. I don't, yeah, you might live in a bubble or something, wherever you are, but there are a lot of black males who don't want to provide. A lot of them. They're the main ones to ask you, what do you bring to the table? They'll tell you, I don't care about your resources, but you are going to pay half the bills, right? I don't care about your degree, but what do you bring to the table? So it's just discombobulated uh babble talk. Why does a light need to be shined on a handful of men? Have you ever heard Muhammad Ali's 10,000 snakes to a thousand snake analogy? Yeah, that's a good analogy. Um, what are the few black men that you're talking about doing for me? What are they doing to protect us from abusive men? Yeah, I don't think that they're really doing anything. I feel like black women, we're at this point, honestly, as a collective, we're our own best protection. I mean, I've been in a situation a couple of years ago where it was actually physical situation and no black men helped me. I was pretty much just me and my homegirl. We were on our own. Like she stood up for me, but no one else did. None of the black men cared to do anything. So I think that the not all black men, not all black men, no, no, but not all black men, like that is so played out. It's so not helpful. It's not helpful. Not when we have a crisis. We have a crisis situation right now. So screaming out not all black men is not it's not overall helpful. It's not really getting to the heart. It's just not. Because until the few can make a massive impact on the collective, it's a moot point. It's a non-productive point to add to the mix of the conversation. If y'all can't control y'all kids and y'all's brothers and cousins, if y'all can't control them, then what is the point of pointing out, but not all, but not all? When you're all talking points, then you're like Derek Jackson. So many people wanted to see him fail. When he couldn't walk what he talked, people rejoiced. Yeah, Derek Jackson was a special case. That was just pandering. That wasn't authentic at all. And black women, we experience a lot of black males coming to pander to us to get our money and attention and to, manipulate us for sex and stuff like that. So yeah, the pandering was trash. I think that what we're really saying is that we don't care about Derek Jackson is useless to me. I've never followed him. I don't like it's useless. It's just pandering babble talk. What I admire about men are men who are demonstrating in their life. If you have a healthy family next to you, that I respect that because that takes a lot to be an active father and a supportive husband of your wife. That's what I respect. You can stand up and give a eloquent speech about everything. Anything you want to know. I don't give a shit. Okay. And what are you doing in the community? What are you doing in the community? Or feminism is taking somebody said feminism, black feminism is taking over the black woman. Okay, so before you go in on that, what are you doing for your nieces? What are you doing for your sisters? Have you taken their oil to get changed? Have you checked on them? Have you talked to your nephews and your nieces? Have you helped them get some school clothes and some school supply? Have you gone to go check on your grandmother and see if she need anything? Have you cut her grass and maybe fixed up the front of the house or your grandma? Have you trimmed her hedges? Have you asked her if she need a ride to the doctor to go pick up her medication from Walgreens? Your own grandma? Your own great grandma? Your old aunties? Because if you're not providing and of service to the women in your family, I don't want you talking to me about no feminism shit. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I want you to tell me what you, because black men like to say, "Well, I don't do nothing for the but the people, only the women in my life." Okay, let's just limit it to the women in your life. Let's just limit it to that. Your own nieces, your own grandmother, your own auntie, your own mama, your own daughters. Let's just limit it to that. What are you doing for these women in your life? What are you doing? How are you of service to the women in your life? Not just coming over to grandma's house with an empty stomach because you about to eat up grandma food, but do you call and check on grandma? Do you go see about your grandma? Do you do any manual labor for your grandma that you know she can't do no more? That's what I'm interested in knowing. And that's how I know that keeps me immune to people like Derek Jackson because I am not impressed by words and presentations. And more women are not falling for the BS. You look at me and you smile and you think that, oh, well, she likes me, so she's just going, submit. No, bust it wide open. No, 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 no. That's how we have so many um, situations where we don't have men invested to stay if children come out of these interactions because he didn't have to do nothing to prove himself to even be there. But we're getting that together. We're getting better. We're doing what we need to do. We're doing what we need to do to choose better. But another thing that y'all need to accept is that oftentimes when we say choose better, a lot of times that means choose non-black men. Because these rare unicorns that y'all want to bring up, not all, not all, not all. Well, y'all are so overrun by the toxic underdeveloped males that we sometimes can't even take the risk of our own personal safety to try to sift through and see who's healthy enough to date. So we just got to go to other communities and just open it up and just pick the best man for the job. That's just where we are right now. Absolutely hard, that analogy, respectfully comparing black men and black women in relationships, black people and white people relationships is okay. I don't know what y'all talking about. Let me see if I can catch him on the chat. Hey, African humanist, what you doing up? Or maybe it's early for you. Go to work early in the morning. However, before I go, darling Ebony, that's what white people should be asking. The problem is they are not asking that. Racist people blissfully don't give an F. Okay. I missed y'all whole conversation, so I'm just gonna trust that y'all worked it out. But yeah, um, yeah. Overall, what I was talking about, African humanist, is why I don't publicly manstroke anymore. It's very counterproductive. It's very counterproductive because we really have to get to a point where we are rewarding behavior that is positive and that is good. That's where we need to get to. We need to reward any man that's going to be in service to women in his life and to women as a whole. That's the men that we need to focus on. That's the men that we need to support because those are real men. And we're just going to continue to ice out everybody else that's counterproductive. Isolate, ice them out, ignore, withdraw our attention, withdraw our affection, withdraw our support, reclaim our time, basically. That's where we at right now. Years and years of seeing these families on an up close level has helped me understand how counterproductive it is. First, stop talking about all of the good men when we are dealing with an epidemic of bad ones. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I just think that when people deflect, when especially males, when males deflect to the but not all black men, not all black men, what that really is code for is I don't want to deal with this degeneracy. This shit is too fucking, it's too toxic. It's I don't want to deal with it. I'm not going to acknowledge it. I'm not going to accept it. I'm not going to be accountable for it. I'm not going to hold myself accountable to any aspect of what's going on with my brothers. So I'm going to deflect over to the five good guys, and then I don't know about these thousand that are trash, but I'm going to focus on these five that are positive, and that's what I'm going to do. And so our does that mean that black women are supposed to be the ones that create a solution for this? Or is that what y'all handing it off to us? That we should do it? You know, uh, we don't know what are you saying exactly? I must admit, I have to move in silence because I was on the BS for some time. So although I'm on a different journey now. I haven't done the work long enough to be trusted or believable. Okay. Maybe you mean to other men, I'm not sure. But I mean, I think focus on yourself first, right? You know, get your situation in order so that you have something to once you start breaking through barriers and you actually start overcoming obstacles, that's when you have something to share with others. But you got to actually go through it. You actually have to go through it in order to have something to share. And then sometimes you don't even have to have anything to share. Sometimes living your life is the testimony. Sometimes the way you just live your life is the testimony. That is the demonstration right there. Before I go, okay. Oh, for sure, I'm going through it and I welcome it. I made my bed, so, well, redemption is a wonderful thing. Oh, we all make mistakes, but some of them are more detrimental than others. But I think the faster that you can get on the right track, the better. Being over here and listening to women um, share their grievances, I mean, I think that that's a good start. I think that's a good start because Dusty, like a true bona fide Dusty, would have had 18 meltdowns by now. They would have just imploded right inside the live chat because they cannot handle any level of criticism at all, like at all. So it's a positive sign that you know it's a positive sign that you are able to um, listen at least. Good night. Let me see your transcript, girl. Thanks for coming through. I don't know how I got a second win. If anybody wants to call in, you can call in. What time is it for you, the African humanist? Is it like 7 over there? You up early? While anybody decides if they want to call in, I'm trying to think if I could think of any more of those stories. I mean, I think I shared quite a few with the three different families that I told you was a hot mess. I'll never forget. Also, there was a Black Power family who used to take a bunch of pictures and put them on social media about about Black Power and family, and they used to take all these little cute pictures. And then the woman told the guy that she wanted to divorce him, and he killed her. I don't know if he killed her and the baby or if he just killed her, a black man. But that, yeah, he was abusive. He was hitting her, and she told him that she was going to divorce him, and he killed her. And that's why I always encourage y'all to leave in silence. I have a video on my page called Leave in Silence. Don't make any grand announcements when you're leaving an abusive relationship. Just go, because you never know how far people are willing to take it. Oh, it's 8:08 over there. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's about right. Yeah, y'all are what, like 6 hours ahead of us? Seven? Something like that. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I'm winding down too. I think I've said all that, you know, came to my mind with why I don't do that anymore. And I really hope that we retire the all men, not all men, but I really hope that we can't ban. No, I don't want to ban. I don't want to ban myself. Hold on. Just trying to pin it. Oh, actually, I think I have to do that on my phone. What are some phrases do you think that we could say when guys say not, or even women too, not all black men? What do y'all think is something that we can? What is a compassionate um response to that? What is an accurate response to that without, because if it's a woman and you're just like, oh, you're a mammy, I feel like that makes people shut down and they don't want to listen to what you have to say. When they're like, not all black men. And then if you're just like, oh, you're a mammy, and then they don't listen anymore. So when they say that, what do y'all think that we can say? What is a proper response to help redirect them and help them to see things possibly different? That man in Texas was a cop. His wife said she was leaving, so he killed the wife, the daughter, and the daughter's boyfriend. He listened to the manosphere. I think that we're talking about two different ones, darling Ebony, but um you know what I really want to do, darling Ebony? And I wonder, I don't know what the right, like, I don't know what the, I don't know if I should do it on a municipal level, on a state level, or on a federal level. But I think that we should try to get legislation passed to where when there's domestic violence that they do, and like especially when someone is killed, I think that they should forensically look at their computer and their phone and see what they're consuming, and I think they should release that to the public. I really do, because the incels and the manosphere, those males abuse at a higher rate. And I think that if we don't make a correlation between, this is not just talk, these men are actually these males are actually going offline and enacting these fantasies. They're actually killing and raping and everything else, violating young girls and children. I don't know who would be responsible for that. I don't know if is it like municipality by municipality, or if we should try to do it on a state level. But we need to know. I don't know if we need to become a protected class as black women, and maybe we would have, more, maybe we would have more rights. I know there are certain incel groups that the FBI does monitor. I know that for sure, because there have been, I think there was a mass killing done by this incel a few years ago. He used to call himself the ultimate gentleman or something like that, a white incel, and he ended up like killing a bunch of people. So that group got disbanded. That group of incels got disbanded. And I know that the FBI does monitor the incels to a certain point, but I don't know if the federal government has the manosphere on their radar. I don't know. Because if the black manosphere is mostly killing black women and abusing black women, I don't know that they would, you know, I don't know if they would act as fast if they would act if it were another group. But nonetheless, I know we have a very what do you call it? I know that we have a steep road ahead of us, and I know that it won't be easy, but I know that I'm in it for the long haul as far as protecting black women and girls. I'm not a fly by night person, so I'm in it for the long haul. So whatever it takes, you know, we need to do it, because it was definitely, the divestment people over there who was saying, like, we can definitely get out there and start talking to our local police offices and going to city council meetings and going to the precinct when they have public meetings, and making sure that they understand that black women were not with the fuck shit. I mean, if we have to separate ourselves and, use what we have to get what we want, and make sure that the people who are charged with protecting us know that we want to be protected. Because for so many times we let black men speak for us on these political levels. We do all the work. We do all the work on the ground floor, and then they're the ones who get the shine. And so when they speak politically, they absolutely do not speak to the political needs of black women and girls. They're worried about incarceration and all this type of shit. Truth be told, that don't affect us. That affect y'all. That affects y'all. So any chance that you get, you're advocating for your own self. So it's like, all right, fine. We need to come up with strategies as black women to make sure that the people who are charged to protect us know that we want to be protected and that we welcome them into the community. Like, we want to be on the good side. And yeah, are we going to encounter difficult situations and racist police and race? Yeah, of course, sure. Yeah. But again, we vet each person individually. If we can have 2 or 3 allies in the police department, it's better than zero. It's better than zero. That was some of the best advice that I got over there on the divestment channel. There have been several mass killings by incels, all from 4chan and 8chan. The FBI is trying to monitor them. Yes, I had heard that. I know that the FBI monitors the incels as a hate group because they hate women. But the black manosphere, I don't know if that's on their radar, because I think it just seems so indirect. And I think that's why we need that direct correlation between when a black woman gets seriously injured or killed and what that man is listening to and what is that man watching. Then we can really start to make our political case. We can really start to make our case that this is hate speech, and that this is harming us, so that something can be done to limit the reach of this. I mean, if anything, like, let's say that YouTube didn't take it off of YouTube, but also YouTube doesn't have to push it through the algorithm either. You know what I mean? YouTube doesn't have to, like, go out of their way to promote content that encourages black men to feel entitled to sex, and that a woman can't say no to sex, and that if your woman gets out of line and says something that you don't like, you can slap her. That a woman is useless. Because this do you all remember that time that those guys in DC put that woman inside the garbage can? Do you remember that? I know Paris Milan covered it. I think Chrissy might have covered it. I don't remember. But those black males took their counterpart, the black woman, and they threw her in the dumpster. Now, what does it take for one human to put another human in in a dumpster? What it would take is the group of people who did it, they would have to see her as trash. And they would have to see her of little of no value to society, because this was a dark brown skinned black woman. That's what would have to be in your mind to be able to do that. And so what do we have in the manosphere? It's constantly saying that women are valueless. Women are only worth whatever cheap thrill you can extract from them. But other than that, they're completely worthless. So then those males can go out and be able to do something like put a woman inside of a trash can because they believe she's worthless. The problem is that when the FBI infiltrates their chat, they build another website community. Yeah, the incels are pretty techie. They're definitely techie. So I know that they have their work cut out for them to continue to monitor those groups. I know that for sure. They have their work cut out for them. I'm in it for the long haul to protect black women and girls. Yes, absolutely. It's good to know that we are not alone. You know, like there's so many of us black women who've come to the same conclusion. We don't know each other. We do not live in the same city. We are not conspiring to come up with these conclusions. We have come up with these conclusions from living life. We've come up with these conclusions from bumping our heads against the wall, dealing with the collective of black males. It's like, I know for me, it's like you're working on a project and you think it's a group project, right? You're working on this project and you're so busy, you've got your head down in the books and you're working on the project and you're doing everything that you have to do, and you look across and your sister's working and okay, you're like, oh great. And then like you look over at the black man and he's just like sitting relaxed with his feet up, not doing anything. You're like, oh my. So all this time you haven't even been helping. And then not only that, sometimes you've been sabotaging what I'm doing as I'm doing it. And it's a really sobering moment when you realize that you've been doing community work for years, and then you look over and it's like you thought he was helping, but he really wasn't. You really been doing everything by yourself. Thank you. You can imagine that their hold on. Religion makes them believe it is okay to rape young women. Wow, I didn't know a lot about them and now I'm interested. Okay, you guys must have been talking about the Hebrew Israelites, I'm assuming. I have a story. I have something that I'm working on that with the Hebrew Israelites. Well, there's a couple things. I wanted to have a sister come on here who was married to a Hebrew Israelite, and he was a narcissist and very abusive, and have her tell her story. That's one thing. And then there's another longer piece that I'm going to be doing about like this was definitely the turning point of me leaving the pro black nationalist like movement. Was a lot of it had to do with, you know, this group wanting to align with the Hebrew Israelites. I don't deal with the Hebrew Israelites because they're very pedophilic, very. And I had brought that when I was in the black nationalist, you know, movement. I had brought that to the leadership's attention. I'm like, I don't believe that you guys should be doing anything with the Hebrew Israelites because they abuse children. And that's not right. And that um, I was told that they don't need to agree with everything that the Hebrew Israelites do, but they were going to band together against homosexuality. That's what I was told. It doesn't matter what they do as long as they're against gays. I'm like, okay. This makes no fucking sense. I can't, like, even in my worst pick Misha days, even in my worst mammy days, I would never ever put a girl at risk. I was never so male worshiping that I would sacrifice a little girl. I think that children should be protected at all costs. Children's innocence should be protected at all costs. So that was really the breaking point for me. If you guys want to align with organization that you know promotes pedophilia, I can't deal with y'all. My spirit, I can't. I don't trust you. I think you're trash. I like everything that you say that you're about black family. How can you be about black family and you're going to align yourself with the Hebrew Israelites when they rape girls? They abuse girls and women. And they have their Bible to justify everything that they do. Oh my God, speaking of Hebrew Israelites, I remember I met one years ago and you know, on a services tip or whatever. It was like a free consultation. And this guy, he was like, oh, I'm tired or something. I have been up all night. And I said, oh, brother, well, you work a night shift. He said, oh, no, I'm not working right now. I was up just, researching on YouTube. He was up researching on YouTube. So this woman that he's with, he's supposedly polygamous. This one, this woman is on government aid, Medicaid, food stamps, everything. Housing list and everything. He don't work, and the other one is on welfare too. Now, in his mind, his black male pathology, he's a king because he has these two women who have food stamps and welfare and everything else, and then they're giving him money so that he can live and rest in his femininity. And in his mind, he's a king. And he will go on social media, and the mammies and the pick-me-shas connected to him will also collectively lie that they have this great life. I'm telling y'all, it's been experience after experience after experience in my real everyday life that has brought me to the conclusion it is not wise to publicly broad stroke, man stroke the collective of black males. It's not healthy. We do need that form of legislation from a legislation point. Okay, um you're talking about the legislation to help us know what these abusive males are consuming, that's leading to the escalation of violence against black women and girls. We absolutely need something about that. I'm going to keep that conversation going and seeing if maybe we have some policy people in our community that can lead us and maybe even lead me in on a local level down the right track to get something like that going. A particular YouTuber just said that black women are not abused. He also said we needed to be domestic. Yeah. So I think he did the domestic discipline the day before, and then the next day he said that black women aren't abused. I'm going to splice together because there's a very unlikely dark-skinned black male with that same pathology that also months and months ago, I have it in my archive. Months and months ago, he downplayed black women domestic violence. And he okay, so y'all know that $5 net worth, black women only have a $5 net worth talking point, black women have all the student debt talking point. It came from him. So he advocates for, really, like, he says it's for the black community, but it's really more so for black men, more so than it is for black women. And he was downplaying domestic violence months ago back in April. And I have that clip. I just need to edit it and I'll get that out. Maybe tomorrow, maybe by early week, we'll see. And then also juxtapose that to what the kitten said. Because really, one of them is supposedly a good black man, and one of them is supposedly a high value black man, but they both have the same black male pathology, which puts us in the situation that we are in with dealing with them. They both have the same pathology, this denial of what is happening, that a black woman is killed every 6 hours in this country. And I was talking, I think, let me see, your transcript left, but last week we were talking on her live and we were talking about Tila Tequila. And I told her, and I was telling everybody in the chat that Tequila kidnapped two black children. Tequila kidnapped two black children, and supposedly she was going to baptize them in her house. The grandmother, the children were playing out in the yard. The grandmother had to go and find the children. And so what I was explaining last week on her live was that black men, in their disdain for black women, they gravitate towards Tequila because she's criticizing weave and things like that. But I didn't hear any black men condemn the fact that she kidnapped two black children. And this is why people feel like they can just roll up in our community and do anything to our children, because black men won't even protect the children in words. You're so busy getting off on the fact that she's criticizing weave. You guys are obsessed with weave. You're obsessed with Cynthia's bang, and you're obsessed with lace fronts. When meanwhile, this Asian has rolled up into the community and took two black children. What if she would have drowned those kids? You know that the woman is crazy and she don't even like black people. She hates black people, and she's a drug addict. What if she would have had a hallucination on one of her PCP trips or whatever, and saw that one of the babies had a demon on them and tried to drown that baby? Thank God the grandmother went and got them. But black men didn't even condemn Tequila for kidnapping those black children. They're just applauding her because she is criticizing black women's hair. And this is the type of behavior that we see over and over and over and over again. When we come under attack, black men do not defend us from anybody. We have to fend for ourselves. And thank God that we are doing a good job at supporting one another, because we as black women are all we have to really rely on right now. We protect ourselves. We help ourselves. Black men don't tell us we're beautiful. We tell each other that we're beautiful. We lift each other up. We're not starved for their validation or for their protection anymore. We're going out into different communities, and we're being diplomats, and we're getting deals done to just garner protection for our own individual families and for our own individual communities and what it is that we have going on. That's where we're at right now. But I thought that was really interesting that no black man that I know of condemned her for that. The African humanist says, yes, religion plays a huge role in this. Yeah, it absolutely does. Maybe we need to heighten awareness of the manosphere as a hate group. Yeah, we do. I think so. I think that if we may even need to have a think session on like the language that we use, so that we can like all be on the same page about like getting us as a protected group, helping to correlate some of the stuff that they say is maybe like terroristic attack, terroristic threats, inciting violence, right? So yes, you have freedom of speech, but you shouldn't be inciting violence, that kind of a thing. Maybe I don't know if we work the gender route. I mean, maybe we need to try to involve white women. I mean, I'm willing to explore any avenue. I'm willing to explore any avenue that could help keep more women safe. Because the truth of the matter is that this malosphere is very much so lighter fluid on an already burning a fire. It's lighter fluid on an already burning fire. Legislations have their roots from religion, unfortunately. What is a mammy? I keep hearing you say that and I have no clue. Okay, a mammy is someone who coddles and protects black men. So she pretty much treats black men very much so like a mother treats her son. So she doesn't really, want him to provide or, demonstrate for her. Mammies make a lot of excuses for black men. So when they do things, um, when they underachieve, she has a reason for that. Oh, well, the white man is keeping him down, and the black man got lynched, 400 something years ago, and well, he trying his best. Like, she has a lot of excuses for black men's behavior. She never holds him accountable for anything. She provides for him like a mom to a son. She shelters him from his own mistakes. She takes charges for him. She takes the rap for him. She takes on his responsibilities as her own. That's the mammy archetype. A Pygmesia is somebody who she doesn't really value herself. So like Pygmesia, when she wakes up in the morning and she looks in the mirror, it's not enough. She doesn't feel like she's enough. She needs a warm body next to her. It doesn't matter what state he's in. It doesn't matter if he just got out of jail. It doesn't matter if he is chronically unemployed. It doesn't matter. She needs a warm body sleeping next to her for her to feel enough. So she's always vying to be picked by a man. She cannot be alone, and she's not willing to do the work to get healthy enough to get into a healthy relationship. So she's willing to sacrifice anything for a man. If a man is abusing her kids, she'll look the other way because she wants to be picked. She wants him to keep picking her. If she has to throw another sister under the bus to get picked, she'll do that too. If she has to go against the collective of what's best for black women and girls, she'll do it to get picked. Getting picked is the ultimate achievement for Pygmesia. Even though Pygmesia gets pumped and dumped and recycled, so these males take you out of the pack, deal with you for a little bit, get bored, and put you back on the shelf or throw you back into the rotation of other Pygmesias. Pygmesia doesn't draw the correlation of I keep getting pumped and dumped. I keep like entering into these toxic and then I get tossed. I get discarded. She doesn't never get off the hamster wheel. She doesn't put two and two together to be like, oh, I need to stop this. I need to pick myself. Pygmesia doesn't pick herself. Pygmesia picks a man over everything, over herself, over her kids, over her career, over everything, over her livelihood. She'll jeopardize her livelihood for a Dusty just for the sake of having him next to her. That's Pygmesia. That's why I have issues with black men saying welfare broke up the black family when many black men were pimping their women for the checks indeed and women and children. Yeah, black men have always benefited from um, welfare as well. So I don't know why. Well, we know why they say that. They don't ever just they don't ever have this attitude of the buck stops with me, and I'm going to be responsible to do what I have to do. Instead of having a buck stops with me um, attitude, they have an attitude of making excuses. Please don't divine things for people. People are going onto channels. Okay, people are going onto channels and constantly asking them to define certain terms so that they can get the channel flagged and taken down. Oh, okay. Thank you, Jo. People within the community know what you're talking about. Well, I'm going to answer it for the African humanist because I do know her, and she's a very inquisitive woman. She's not from the United States, so she really doesn't know our lingo. So that's why I was explaining it to her. She is very supportive of the channel, but I do appreciate you giving me that wisdom so that in the future I can know to be mindful about that so that I don't get my channel flagged. So thank you for that, sister. I appreciate you. But hopefully I won't get flagged because I really didn't say anything as far as race was concerned. I just talked about the attributes of these archetypes. So hopefully all will be well. I probably should come up with a backup channel. What do y'all think? I think I should probably come up with a backup channel because I had recorded a video about domestic violence 6 months ago in the kitten. And now it's picking up steam. So I know the kittens are probably flagging. I know that they're probably purring all over that video and flagging it and whatnot, but whatever. I'm not saying anything derogatory in my page. I don't use a lot of terms that a lot of the divestors use terms that get their pages flagged. I don't use those terms over here. I don't even use those terms over here. So I think that that's probably working to my advantage that I don't. But I really don't feel comfortable using a lot of those terms. I can say what I have to say without calling people monkeys and stuff like that. I don't have to go that far. For me personally, that's just not my personal style. I know everybody has what they want to do. Okay, I'm going to create a backup channel and I'll start pinning it so people can follow me there in case anything happens to this channel. Yeah, I know that you don't, African Humanist doesn't live in the US, so she doesn't speak our lingo. But it's really, it's really interesting um, to know as far as like the mammy archetype and how be it might be relevant in other communities because I had recorded when I first started my video, when I first started my channel, one of the first videos I recorded was why are African men so narcissistic? And I sent it to a couple of friends, acquaintances. I sent it to a couple of acquaintances who were kind of, encouraging me to go ahead and start this channel. And one of the ladies, she had a visceral response to my video. She was African. She had a very strong response and she was like, no, my brother, my cousin, not all African men, not all African men. And it was just like, okay. And then I was on this divestment channel like months and months later and they were like, oh yeah, she's a mammy. She's a mammy. And I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. Like I'm sitting up here trying to be sympathetic to her, but I'm just like, I'm thinking, okay, I have my reasons why I think African men are narcissistic, but you're actually from Africa. You might have additional reasons as to why you think. I'm looking from the outside in. This is my experience. I'm thinking she's going to add to the list. And she's like had this response like, you haven't been all over Africa and you don't know every single man and that. I'm like, girl, I've met a lot of African men and a lot of them are very narcissistic. So I ended up privating the video. I didn't take the video off of my channel. So if you're open to it, African Humanist, I want to send it to you. I want to send you the private link so that you can view the video because I'm thinking about making it public again. Now that video, those were my very first negative YouTube comments. I had African men coming on that on that post and saying, "Oh, blah blah blah," and they're just complaining about it. So I ended up making it private. Oh yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Absolutely will explain. And then Michaela did agree to come on the channel, so she and I just need to talk about when she's going to come on. And it's really a blessing because I've been wanting to talk about trans issues on this channel. I really think that we are not understanding each other. And I think that I'm really looking forward to the conversation with Michaela. And then on another note, I want us to do another one on homophobic language in this movement, that what just what we have going on. Those of us who are critical of the manosphere, obviously there are a lot of down low guys inside the manosphere. There are a lot of down low guys in the manosphere. There are a lot of guys who are not living their truth. They have all kinds of sexual fetishes and perversions. They have sexual dysfunction. They have sexual addiction. They have all kinds of issues going on. And so I think that on our side, we want to be critical of these males who are not living their truth. But I think that in the pursuit of it, we use a lot of homophobic language that I feel like could be alienating us from potential gay allyship. And if gay men want to stand up for Black women, I mean, whoever is willing to do it, come on. Come on. We need as many allies as we can, but I feel like if people are going to be calling guys booty bandits and bussy this and bussy, I'm just like, how are gay men going to come over here and stand with us if we are disparaging them all the time? Now, you know what I'm saying? Like, there just has to be a better way. Obviously Kitten Heels has some sexual stuff going on. He's obviously not living his truth. He's been accused of being gay his whole life. He has some very effeminate ways about him. But all of that can be called out without all the extra vulgarities, I think, in my personal opinion. I think that we can do better. I have issues with the homophobic language used in the divestment community. Yeah, it just gets to this point where we can't have mutual respect, because respect goes a long way. And I think that what we're trying to do, especially as dark skinned and brown skinned Black women, is that we are really trying to garner respect on a global stage, and we're trying to take our image back. So I just don't see I don't think it helps us to disparage gayness as though it is evil. You know what I'm saying? Or bad. Because it's almost like it's used as an insult. Like, oh, you this and you busting at this and you're doing that and you're doing that. And it's just like, it's just overboard. We don't even have to do all that. If you want to call out that someone is hiding, they're on the DL, I think that that's fair game. I think that's fair game. That you're on the DL, you need to come out of the closet, you need to live your truth. I think that's all fair game. But all of the negative talk around homosexuals or gay people or LGBTQ, it's not serving us. It's not serving us. Oh, okay. You have evolved in the area of LGBTQ. Yeah, I have too. I have too. I have too. And honestly, looking back in the pro-black movement, when I was, more involved with them, they really want to make it very like anti-homosexual, and that not only is white supremacy ruling your life, but the homosexuals have all these agendas to ruin your life. I think that they do all that to keep you distracted, to really be like, no, the collective of black males are the ones that are ruining our lives. It's all like diversionary tactics. Because yes, I might have my beliefs, but I don't feel like it's a good use of my time to sit up and criticize LGBTQ all day. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I think that I let people live their life. I don't, it's not productive, but there have been a lot of these like pro-black groups that dedicate a lot of their time to various different conspiracy theories regarding LGBT community. That's been my experience. So, okay, we have a lot that we have coming up then. Then we have our talk with Michaela coming up sometime soon, who's a trans black woman. And then we need to have a conversation about probably not on that day, because on that day I really want to focus on trans women understanding biological black women, why we feel the way we feel, because I feel like our feelings are valid too. And I feel like trans women's feelings are valid too. We have some things in common, and we are also very, very different. And I think that we have to honor and respect our differences. So I'm looking forward to that. We need to have another conversation about the homophobic language. We need to have another conversation about um, possible legislation or laws or procedures for law enforcement to audit the devices of males that commit violence against black women or girls or children, that we are, so that we're able to see if they're actually consuming manosphere content. um what else did we say that we were going to talk about? Oh, and then that situation. Oh, and then I do want to invite the lady on to talk about her experience being married to a Hebrew Israelite. And then I'm going to do a longer breakdown of me, basically like when I took a turn out of like the pro-black community or whatever the case may be. So we have lots coming up on the channel. Thank y'all so much for tuning in on this late night, early morning live. I'm going to get some rest. I really do appreciate y'all, and y'all take care. Peace.